Well, the United Kingdom is hitting the brakes on trade talks with Canada after Ottawa decided not to extend temporary measures put in place after Brexit. The 9th round of talks was scheduled to take place next month. Canadian dairy quotas have been a contentious issue, as well as a special quota for UK cheese imports and country of origin rules for British manufacturers. For more, we're joined by Mark Warner. He's an international trade and competition lawyer with MAAW Law. Mark, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Nice to talk to you.
So, were you surprised to hear that the UK was walking away from these talks?
Yes and no. I wasn't surprised in the sense that this happens frequently with trade negotiations that Canada is a part of, because the last issue to be decided always has to do with dairy, and so you do have some stops and some starts. So I wasn't sure which party was going to stop or start. So I wasn't fully expecting it, but it's not unusual, let's just say, in the world of trade negotiations to see something like this happen.
Okay, so this can be, to be expected in the sense that, do you think it's easy to overcome, that they will come together, and to talk things out soon, or do you think that this could be quite some time before the two parties return to the table?
Yeah, I think this could be protracted because, I think we've obviously got a very weak federal government, minority government in Canada. It's held in a lot of seats in Quebec is perhaps their most stable base, which is where the dairy lobby is the strongest. And you've got the opposition Conservatives who have staked out some decidedly non-free trade positions. So they are also competing for those dairy votes. And then you've got a weak government that's on its way out in Britain that is also trying to hold on to their heartland among our farmers. And so there's not a lot of obvious runway for either side to make concessions. And really, this comes down to largely cheese and dairy on our side, and maybe beef in terms of their rules that our beef producers don't like, and to some extent pork. But I think largely the holdup is, Canada doesn't really want to give up very much in terms of market access on cheese. And people are saying, the British are saying, what do you want us to do? Right. I think that's going to last. That doesn't seem like something that's going to settle tomorrow.
I wonder, how big of a issue it is in the sense of the volume of trade that it would be impacting, because our Andrew Bell, one of the anchors and reporters here, was going through the numbers in terms of the trade flow from the UK, and it didn't really top that list in terms of what's coming from the UK to Canada, as a really important portion of the flow of trade. So I just wonder, if you have any context on that.
Well, the thing to remember with these trade negotiations, these bilateral trade negotiations, is that the overall trading relationship between Canada and Britain is largely governed by our participation in the World Trade Organization, and before that, the GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. And that sets the framework for an awful lot of trade liberalization in goods and services. So there's a sense in which both countries have already liberalized extensively, so we trade extensively between the two of us. So when you start asking about what you can do more, that's when you start looking at all the issues where countries never wanted to make major concessions on before. That's what makes it difficult. So the easy stuff's already been done, and that's why we do a lot of trade with Britain. But now if you want to say I want to do something extra special with Britain, you've got to actually give something up. Otherwise, what are you doing? And then we also have this other framework agreement which we're in, the TPP, or the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I think Canada likes to call it the CPTPP. But at any rate, we're helping Britain get into that. And even after what happened last night with the British saying they're pausing these bilateral negotiations, I understand that Minister Ng has said that we are still committed to supporting the British entry into the Pacific Trade Agreement. So to some extent, that also will form some of the rules and that govern trade between our two countries. But those big ticket issues like agriculture, dairy, cheese, beef, to some extent, auto rules of origin, they remain outstanding. But we're still going to trade with Britain. It's not, we're not severing all of our ties.
Not closing the door, yeah. No. Well, when it comes to the dairy side of things, I just wonder, do you think that Canada would make any concessions on that, or would that set a sort of precedent for other trade negotiations?
I don't see it, and there's a private member's bill that's, I think, been introduced by a member from the Bloc, which is gaining a lot of support, and that would basically say that in all future rounds of trade negotiations that we wouldn't make any concessions on supply management in areas like dairy. And it seems to me that pretty much all the parties seem to be supporting that private member's bill. So that, that'd be just disastrous, because frankly, what sometimes I feel we don't understand in Canada is if you're doing a trade agreement, you've got to be prepared to give something that the other side wants in order to get something that we want. And the rest of the world, whether it's the Americans in the CUSMA or, the rest of Europe in CETA, or even some of our trading partners in the TPP, New Zealand, they actually look at our dairy. So I don't know how we square this circle in Canada. There doesn't seem to be much political room for any government to move on it, but it's going to become increasingly difficult to liberalize in other areas that are significant to our investors and to our traders, exporters, if we're not prepared to give in areas that other countries might want something. There is a sense that trade should be a net positive, a win-win. But you've got to be able to give something in order to get those wins. And we're getting to the point now, there's not much left to trade with. We're at the tough issues. And
that's a really important part, Mark. I wonder as well, just, during this period where they're not at the table, are there any impacts? I mean, you said, we're not, this doesn't end trade with Britain in the meantime, but are there, any negative impacts perhaps to Canada during this time when this, there's just a question mark hanging over this? Yeah.
So the one that's coming down the pipe, I think, is the autos part, because that's relating to auto parts, and people always think of the just-in-time delivery in the auto sector. So to the extent that people who are making decisions about investment in autos or about trade are dependent on British parts that benefit from certain rules of origin, what counts as British, and they're going to change on April 1st, you can see that there'll be people in Britain who will be in that sector that'll be nervous, and there'll be people in Canada who are buying in that sector who will be nervous. That might be an impetus to get the parties to come back to the table to do something in that specific area. I see perhaps more room for an early compromise on autos. I mean, we have our own issues, obviously, with the Americans on auto rules of origin relating to the Biden Congressional, Inflation Reduction Act requirements, and the British have similar type debates going on in terms of Europe, and behind that all are the Asian producers from Korea and Japan. So all of that muddies it, but somewhere in there, I see perhaps a scope for Canada to do something on autos, because it just seems that's probably one where both there are enough people on both sides of the pond here who have enough skin in the game to want to get something done. I think that's different than dairy and cheese.